Hunger in the land. Ex-minister warns Tinubu of looming anarchy, wants policy reconsideration. Already we know that the way things are going, we don't know what Tinubu is blowing into the air that is making Nigerians not to even respond to the hunger at all. That is what we've seen. Nigerians are not responding to the hunger. The Nigerians are just looking at the thing like, I don't understand. They're just looking at it like, I can't explain what the Nigerians are just, they're just back to their cooler. Nobody's reacting anymore. Quite unfortunate. So a former Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Chief Ŕçĥy Essien, okay, this must be from Akwa, has asked the President Bola Tinubu-led federal government to reconsider some of its policies, warning of possible anarchy due to the growing wave of hunger and discontent among Nigerians. So according to him, most of the government's economic policies have only aggravated poverty and inflation, leaving millions of Nigerians struggling to survive. And that is true. Millions of Nigerians struggling to survive. So in a statement issued on Wednesday in Abuja, the former federal lawmaker also criticized the hasty removal of fuel subsidy and other economic policies of Tinubu administration, arguing that they are inflicting unprecedented suffering on the populace. So the level of suffering across the country is unprecedented, except perhaps during the Nigerian Civil War. Families are struggling to meet basic needs. The policies, while perhaps well-intentioned, are exacerbating poverty, increasing inflation, and hurting the most vulnerable among us, he stated. Essien urged the federal government to rethink its approach and strike a balance between reducing the fiscal deficit and ensuring citizens do not plunge deeper into poverty. This is not Tinubu's business. So they're already cashing out, and that is their concern. That is why they are there. They are there to cash out. That is it. So while he emphasized the need for fiscal discipline and cutting the cost of governance, the former minister warned that it is inhuman to continue down this path without a clear plan to ease the burden on the citizens. Our leaders cannot continue to fritter the commonwealth of the country recklessly and ask the people to make sacrifices. That is what Tinubu is saying now. They are telling everybody to make sacrifice. Meanwhile, they are doing what they are doing at their own. Quite unfortunate. It's a very bad situation. So, if urgent action is not taken to stem the hunger, poverty, and discontent in the country, we risk losing the patience of the people, and that could result in dire consequences, he warned. So the former minister also expressed great disappointment at what he described as underperformance of the Niger Delta Development Commission, which he said has now become a symbol of corruption, inefficiency, and wasted resources. You don't think now today, people go to NDDC to make money, not to work, not to even do development. The purpose of setting up that thing has failed. That is it. As one of the key advocates for the establishment of the NDDC, he lamented how far the commission has strayed from its core mandate of bringing development to the oil-rich Niger Delta region. So the NDDC, which was designed to be an engine of development for the oil-rich Niger Delta, has tragically become a symbol of corruption. Billions of naira are poured into the endless regional master plans, stakeholders' engagements, media campaigns, and infrastructure projects that never seem to materialize or make any significant impact on the lives of the people, he stated. So Essien, who played a key role in the establishment of the NDDC during his time in the National Assembly, highlighted the lack of legacy projects in the Niger Delta beyond the Commission's headquarters building in Port Harcourt. So he accused the NDDC of perpetuating political patronage while neglecting the people it was created to serve. So the region is inundated with abandoned projects, while new administrations continue to award emergency contracts of street lights, shore protections, etc. as a means of extracting quick returns. So the much touted forensic audit had never been made public, and no one has been held accountable for the billions stolen, he lamented. So Chief Essien called on President Tinubu to take urgent steps to refocus the NDDC on its core mandate, warning that continued mismanagement would further deepen the region's woes. So the former minister also took aim at the NNPC Limited, criticizing its involvement in regulating the pricing of petroleum products produced by private refineries, particularly the Dangote refinery. He questioned the rationale behind NNPC interference, pointing out that the state-owned company had failed to effectively manage the country's own refineries for decades. And he said it is unacceptable that an organization that has failed to manage the country's refineries for over 3 decades would now meddle in the pricing of products from a privately owned refinery. The NNPC Limited is now a private entity in competition with Dangote. As such, it has no business regulating the downstream sector of the petroleum industry. Exactly, following the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA. Exactly. And this is exactly the point I've been asking. Which business has NNPC? It's no longer NNPC. It is now NNPCL, which is now competing with all the upstream and downstream oil and gas companies in Nigeria, even with the IOCs. So what regulatory right has NNPC to go and regulate the price of product coming from a private refinery? It is not their job anymore. It should be the DPR or NUPRC or whatever, or PPPRA. Those are the people that should do the job. Wow, I think this guy has said exactly what I was asking since. So in addition, Chief Essien voiced his support for a shift towards true federalism, emphasizing the need to devolve developmental responsibilities to the regions. He pointed out that the creation of regional government commissions, such as the NDDC, has set the stage for a more effective federal structure that would allow states and regions to better manage their own resources and development. So the regions, states, and local governments should be given more revenue since they are closest to the people, he stated. He also endorsed the recommendation of the 2014 National Conference, which called for the federal government to step back from regional development and empower the zones to handle their growth. So it is time for the federal government to look at the report of that confab and ensure that the recommendations are implemented. The Niger Delta deserves better. Nigeria deserves better. It is only through honest dialogue and concerted action that we will achieve the development we so desperately need, Essien added. Election transparency and judicial integrity is one of the issues. Chief Essien also addressed the need for electoral reforms, calling for greater transparency in local government elections and urging the National Assembly to amend the Electoral Act to ensure electronic accreditation and the electronic transfers and collation of results. He criticized the current practice where ruling parties in the state dominate local elections, often without fair competition. Oh God, this man right too. So Nigeria may not survive another attempt at a flawed election. Essien warned, urging the Senate to take urgent action to restore trust in the electoral process. He also expressed concern over the increasing role of the judiciary in determining election outcomes, calling on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to restore sanity to our courts and our electoral jurisprudence. So when a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association said he would not go to court to seek redress for an election, the election that he contested and believes was rigged, then we should be very worried. Essien remarked, emphasizing the need for the judiciary to remain the guardian of democracy and fundamental rights. Exactly. The Labour Party governorship candidate in Edo State, Olumide Akpata, who saw how the election was rigged in Edo State against him, opted that he will not go to court, because even as the former chairman of NBA and a renowned lawyer, he knows that justice will not come from the court. So there are no need to waste money. Exactly. And that sends a very strong message into the society that Nigerian judiciary system is finished, is grounded. That is where it is. It is grounded. Quite unfortunate. All right, let me just take one comment. Somebody said, hey, every government official is feeding fat from the federal purse, so they care less about the people who are under the heavy burden of the rising inflation daily. This occurs as a result of enthroning a very wicked, incompetent, and sick leadership by INEC through rigging, thereby shortchanging the people's choice. And that is the truth. That's exactly what has happened. Okay. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment. Somebody saying, who the gods want to kill, he first hardened their heart. Abi, the people already had to. Oh yes, so King Pharaoh was an example. The guys have spoken, and they have spoken the mind of so many people, has touched on so many things. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment on this.